Hello everyone, my name is Jenny Romero. I am going to talk about the book American Crime Stories. Okay, let's go. Mark, who posed as Edward, has tall with thick black eyebrows. He had a similar figure to Edward, which is why he was able to simulate an imitation of him. He was the one who pretended to be on the bridge because he wanted to make sure the policeman would remember his name later when the suicide was discovered. He was the one who bought a gun that would help him fake a suicide. He bought the gun with the license, which he had forget from Edward. Mark was the person who murdered Edward. He was the lover of Edward's wife, who died at the hands of her husband. Edward, one of the main characters in the story, who seemed to be in his early 30s. Edward was a person with thick black eyebrows. He was a tall man with a long, narrow face. He was the man who had murdered his own wife because he was so angry when she told him that she was in love with Mark and wanted a divorce. The society's role in the character's behavior. The protagonist went thinking about the humiliation before his family, friends, and society for being abandoned with his wife to go with his lover. Was the initial reason why this man made such a difficult decision. So, for this reason, his wife was murdered by himself to prevent such a situation from tarnishing his dignity and honor. Edward's wife's divorce proposal was what led him to murder her. Suggestion to the authors. The author could have set the scene in an even more mysterious space of doubt and injustice. Although the story has a part of intrigue and good development, he should have focused more of his attention on the characters to make them better known. He could have included even more sinister characters to introduce a darker atmosphere to the story. Book 2. Death on Christmas Eve. Characters. Celia. Celia, a character said to have resembled her mother Catherine more than ever in her later years, had a thin, bony body whose line of thin, pursed lips revealed her bitterness and whose hair was discolored. She was wearing the wrinkled black dress that must have belonged to her mother. She was the person who, according to the townspeople, had murdered Jessie, her brother's wife. Celia, who never hid her contempt for Jessie. And Charlie. Charlie, who was Celia's brother. That he was 5 years younger than Celia, but actually looked 10 years older. That man always looked sad and angry at the loss of his beloved. Since that evening he had never left his room. He hadn't shaved in days and had huge blue bags under his eyes. His hair was so blonde that it was difficult to see if he had gray hair. Charlie, who was Celia's brother, that he had 5 years younger than Celia. That man always looked sad and angry. The family lawyer, who was old, consular, cautious, calm, and impartial. That old lawyer who used a cane, a hat, and a jacket. The one who also smoked. He would visit them on Christmas Eve, which was the day Jessie, Charlie's wife, died. when everything is depicted as if it had just happened, even 20 years later. Suggestions to the authors. I was probably the parenting styles and the layered interaction with different people and the environment that caused the mental and behavioral disorders of the characters. Celia's lack of interaction with other people were aspects that marked an attachment to the brother, which is why she decided to erase everything that could take him away from her. Resentment and fear towards her sister were the reasons why Charlie decided to stay away from his friends. His memories were the cause of the resentment, the desolation in which he remained during the 20 years after the death of his beloved Jessie. Suggestions: the authors. The story focuses on how the characters remain trapped in the time after the death of the protagonist's wife, along with the suspicion towards his sister Celia. A common story develops that instead of generating intrigue, the reader predicts what will happen. The author could have included more characters and even more plot, and thus present an unexpected twist and then fully capture the reader's attention. Book 3. The Heroine. Lucille Smith. Lucille, who was a young nanny whose mother had passed away 3 weeks ago. Lucille, whose eyes were gray and large like her mother's, was wearing a blue coat and hat. A girl who came to the Christian's house to take care of who would be the children of the couple Nick and Eloise. Lucille, who wanted to do anything to get attention. Nicky and Heloise. Nicky and Heloise, who were the children of Mr. and Mrs. Christiansen, were 9 and 6 years old, respectively, whose curious, trusting, loving eyes were happy with Lucy. Children who, in their room, played with colored pencils, books, and drawings. And Mr. and Mrs. Christians, who were the parents of Nicky and Heloise. They were a loving couple with a beautiful house and adorable children, whom they cared for with great dedication. The Christians' house was friendly and alive. The society's role in the character's behavior. Lucille's behavior was influenced by the lack of love and emotional instability on the part of the parents. Likewise, I can be inferred that the consumption of alcohol and cigarettes by the parents were possibly the ones that caused self-destruction. Tendency. Lucille showed signs of dependency and recognition by others, what led her to commit acts where she managed herself saving the people around her from some tragic situation and thus demonstrating that she was necessary, which led to developing a need for attention and acceptance, thus causing damage to others by not overcoming their past traumas. And suggestions to the authors. In this book, the author makes a subtle suggestion to the superficial acceptance that people require from society. The psychopathic attitude of the protagonist lends itself to making the story a little more disturbing. More incidents, dangers, and incitements could be added to the story. On the other hand, it could take place in another context, an environment where Lucille must overcome more emotional conflicts that manage to trap the reader even more. The ending is suitable for the type of plot that the author presents. Therefore, it follows that the story could continue with a sinister and disturbing-looking Lucille. Thank you very much.